If you are over the age of 70 and you are living in the constant, terrifying fear that type 2 diabetes is eventually going to steal your vision, your kidneys, or your independence, I need you to stop what you are doing and listen to me very closely right now. You wake up every single morning, you check your fasting blood sugar, and without having eaten a single thing, the monitor flashes 160, 180, or even well over 200. You sit on the edge of your bed, hold your head in your hands, and think, I barely ate anything last night. Why is it so incredibly high? You feel like your body is simply giving up on you. You think it's just bad genetics or inevitable aging. But the reality is, your body is not broken. The problem is a single, seemingly innocent morning habit that you and millions of other Americans do every single day. It is a habit you have been told your entire life is completely normal, and you have probably done it every morning for the last 30 years without a second thought. But you have no idea that this one simple action is acting like a biological detonator, forcefully flooding your bloodstream with toxic sugar before you have even taken your very first bite of breakfast. I am Dr. Andrew Morgan, and today I am not going to tell you to eat less, count your carbohydrates, or hand you another expensive prescription. I am going to pull back the curtain and expose the hidden morning mistake that is silently crushing your vascular system before 8 a.m. If you want to spend your golden years with your independence intact, out of a wheelchair, and far away from a dialysis machine, the next 60 seconds are going to change your life forever. Do not click away, because the biological truth I am about to reveal is something the conventional medical system simply does not have the time to explain to you. The new angle for this script. Unlike the first video, which was about sitting after eating, this video targets a completely different but massive mistake: drinking black coffee on an empty stomach right after waking up. For a 70-year-old diabetic, the caffeine hits the adrenal glands, causing a massive adrenaline spike that forces the liver to dump all its emergency stored sugar directly into the blood before they even eat breakfast. We have established the terrifying reality of the morning trap. You now know that waking up and experiencing a massive, unexplainable spike in your blood sugar is not a mysterious glitch in your body, nor is it a sign that your diabetes is suddenly spiraling out of your control. It is the direct biological consequence of a specific daily action. Now, it is time to pull back the curtain entirely and face the actual culprit you are inviting into your body every single morning. This enemy is not a sugary pastry. It is not a plate of refined carbohydrates, a glazed donut, or a tall glass of sweet orange juice. It is not something you would ever suspect, because society, the media, and even outdated nutritional guidelines have conditioned you to view it as the ultimate healthy start to your day. I am talking about your first hot cup of black coffee or tea consumed on an entirely empty stomach, the absolute second you get out of bed. When you cross the threshold of 70 years old, your internal biological landscape is fundamentally different than it was when you were in your 30s or 40s. Your metabolic rate, your hormonal sensitivity, your central nervous system, and the delicate communication pathways between your vital organs have all drastically shifted. Yet, when you wake up and immediately pour yourself a steaming cup of black coffee, your brain tricks you into a false sense of absolute safety. You tell yourself, I am not adding any sugar, I am not adding any heavy cream, and there are absolutely zero carbohydrates in this mug. Therefore, this cannot possibly impact my blood sugar readings. This is the single most destructive, catastrophic deception that the generalized diet and weight loss industry has planted in your mind. You have been falsely trained to believe that if something has 0 calories, it is entirely safe for your diabetes. But your biological engine does not run strictly on calories. It runs on a highly complex, deeply sensitive system of hormonal signals. And pouring highly concentrated caffeine into an empty stomach is the physiological equivalent of dropping a nuclear bomb on your delicate hormonal balance. Let us break down the exact, microscopic biology of what is happening inside your body at 6:30 a.m. so that tomorrow morning, your choices will be crystal clear. When you first open your eyes, as I mentioned previously, your body is already under the heavy influence of a powerful survival hormone called cortisol. This is known in the medical field as the cortisol awakening response. Your brain naturally releases this stress hormone to pull you out of deep sleep, raise your blood pressure slightly, and make you alert enough to start the day. Because of this natural biological rhythm, your body is already hovering in a state of high alert. Now, precisely during this highly sensitive window, while your stomach is completely empty of any food, fiber, or protective barriers, you introduce a highly aggressive, rapidly absorbing chemical compound, caffeine. Caffeine is not just a comforting flavor to wake you up, it is a potent, aggressive central nervous system stimulant. Because there is absolutely no food in your stomach to slow down its digestion, this liquid stimulant aggressively bypasses your digestive system and enters your bloodstream at lightning speed. Within minutes, it travels straight to your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are two small, triangular-shaped organs sitting directly on top of your kidneys. Their primary evolutionary purpose is to release emergency stress hormones when you are in severe physical danger. When a massive dose of empty stomach caffeine directly hits these glands, it triggers a false biological alarm. Your adrenal glands panic. They perceive this sudden, intense chemical stimulation as a signal that you are under an imminent, life-threatening attack. In response, they instantly release a massive, catastrophic tidal wave of adrenaline and epinephrine directly into your vascular system. This adrenaline storm spreads like wildfire through your veins. You have to understand the core evolutionary purpose of adrenaline. It is the primary fight-or-flight hormone. It is specifically designed to give you the explosive physical energy required to either fight off a dangerous predator or run for your life. And what is the human body's primary, fastest, and most accessible source of instant physical energy? Glucose, blood sugar. Your brain does not know that you are simply sitting in your comfortable kitchen chair reading the morning paper. Your brain only understands the chemical distress signal screaming from your adrenal glands. Believing you need massive amounts of energy to survive an attack, your brain sends a non-negotiable emergency override command directly to your liver. Your liver is your body's primary storage vault for emergency glucose. Throughout the day, it locks away extra sugar from your meals in the form of glycogen. The absolute second your liver receives that adrenaline command, it violently kicks open the vault doors. It begins aggressively dumping all of its stored, emergency sugar directly into your bloodstream. In medical science, this highly destructive process is called glycogenolysis. In plain English, it means that even though you haven't taken a single bite of food, your own body has just manufactured and released a massive, toxic flood of sugar into your blood. You thought you were safely fasting. You thought you were cleansing your system. But in reality, your liver has just created a catastrophic vascular traffic jam. Now, consider the absolute biological disaster occurring within your arteries at this exact moment. On one hand, you are over the age of 70, which means your muscle cells are already heavily insulin resistant. The cellular doors are rusted shut, refusing to let the sugar inside to be burned as fuel. On the other hand, because you are sitting still and haven't eaten, your body is not actively engaging its digestive or muscular engines. When you prick your finger half an hour after that cup of coffee and see a reading of 190 or 210, you are struck with grief, frustration, and confusion. You ask yourself, where did this sugar come from? It did not come from your diet. It came directly from your liver, triggered entirely by your innocent morning coffee habit. And because you are not moving, that toxic sugar has nowhere to go. It sits there, stagnating, and begins to systematically rot your internal machinery. What happens next is the silent, invisible destruction that leads to the very complications you fear the most. When this unburned, liver-dumped sugar sits in your bloodstream, it thickens your blood into a corrosive, highly abrasive syrup. With every beat of your heart, this liquid sandpaper is forcefully pumped through your fragile microvascular system. It violently scrapes against the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, causing microscopic chemical burns and severe internal inflammation. This liquid sandpaper targets your most vulnerable organs first. It attacks the microscopic, hair-thin blood vessels in your retinas, causing them to become brittle, burst, and leak fluid, a condition called diabetic retinopathy, which is the leading cause of irreversible blindness in American seniors. At the exact same time, it is aggressively burning out the millions of tiny filtration units in your kidneys, scarring the delicate tissue permanently and pushing you slowly but inevitably toward a dialysis machine. And the destruction does not stop there. It travels down to your legs, actively suffocating the myelin sheath, the protective insulation surrounding the nerves in your feet. This is exactly why you feel that terrifying numbness, the sensation of walking on thick cotton, or the agonizing, burning pain that keeps you awake at night known as peripheral neuropathy. Your nerves are literally starving to death because the blood vessels meant to feed them have been completely destroyed by that morning sugar spike. I saw this exact scenario play out with a patient of mine named Richard. Richard was a proud, 68-year-old retired master mechanic who was slowly losing his ability to walk. He drank 2 large mugs of black coffee every single morning, believing he was being highly disciplined with his zero-calorie fast. When we put a continuous glucose monitor on his arm, the data we pulled was horrifying. 20 minutes after his coffee, his blood sugar would violently rocket from a stable 110 straight up to 195, without a single bite of food crossing his lips. Richard was unknowingly setting his own nervous system on fire every single morning, entirely by accident. I looked Richard dead in the eye and told him that if we did not break this biological loop immediately, he would be permanently bound to a wheelchair within the next few years. We had to stop his body from entering that catastrophic fight-or-flight mode. We had to keep his liver locked and completely quiet. But this does not mean you have to give up your beloved morning coffee forever. I know that at 70 years old, that morning cup of coffee is one of your greatest comforts and joys. I will never strip that joy away from you. However, we absolutely must change the mechanical order of how you consume it. We must build a biological shield inside your stomach to completely neutralize that adrenal shock. In the third and final segment of this presentation, I am going to give you my exact step-by-step masterclass on the water buffer protocol. I will reveal the exact zero-cost ingredient you must put in your stomach before the coffee ever touches your lips, and the exact timing you must follow to keep your blood sugar perfectly flat. Do not go anywhere, because this final piece of the puzzle is going to save your independence and give you your life back. You now possess the foundational biological truth that the conventional medical system simply does not have the time to explain to you during a rushed 15-minute clinic visit. You understand with absolute clarity that pouring highly concentrated caffeine into an empty stomach is not a healthy, zero-calorie fast. It is a biological detonator that triggers a catastrophic adrenal panic. You understand that the massive spike on your glucose monitor is not coming from your diet, but directly from your liver as it desperately dumps emergency sugar into your bloodstream to survive a false fight-or-flight attack. Now, we are going to build your ultimate morning defense system. This is your master blueprint. This is the exact step-by-step routine that will transform your morning coffee from a dangerous vascular hazard back into the comforting, safe ritual you love. Starting tomorrow morning, you are going to implement a simple, elegant, 3-step strategy designed to physically trap that caffeine, drastically slow down its absorption, and completely neutralize the adrenal shock. I call this highly effective, zero-cost strategy the water buffer protocol. Step 1. The 90-minute cortisol delay. Before we even discuss what goes into your stomach, we must absolutely control the timing of your first cup of coffee. As we established earlier, the absolute worst time to introduce a heavy central nervous system stimulant into your body is the exact second you wake up, because your natural stress hormone, cortisol, is currently peaking to pull you out of deep sleep. If you drink coffee at 6:30 a.m., you are throwing gasoline onto a biological fire. Tomorrow morning, you are going to implement a strict, non-negotiable delay. You must wait a minimum of 90 minutes after opening your eyes before you consume your first drop of caffeine. By waiting an hour and a half, you allow your body's natural morning cortisol surge to peak naturally and begin its downward slope. When you finally drink your coffee at 8 a.m. instead of 6:30 a.m., your adrenal glands are no longer in a state of high alert panic. You get the mental clarity and energy from the caffeine, but without triggering the liver to violently dump its toxic load of emergency glucose into your bloodstream. Step 2. The hydration base. While you are waiting out that 90-minute window, you are going to perform the single most important action for your cellular health. After 8 hours of sleep, your entire vascular system is severely dehydrated. Dehydrated blood is naturally thicker, meaning whatever sugar is already lingering in your system is highly concentrated. Coffee is a known diuretic. meaning it aggressively flushes water out of your system. If you drink coffee while already dehydrated, you are turning your blood into that thick, corrosive liquid sandpaper we talked about earlier. To build the first layer of your buffer, you must consume 16 ounces of room temperature water immediately upon waking. But you are not just going to drink plain water. You are going to add a tiny, microscopic pinch of high-quality, mineral-rich Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt to that glass. Why? Because as a type 2 diabetic over the age of 70, your cells desperately need trace minerals, like magnesium and potassium, to effectively pull water inside the cell wall. This mineralized water actively plumps up your cells, dilutes the baseline sugar in your bloodstream, and creates a soothing, hydrating base layer coating the entirety of your empty stomach. Step 3. The fat and protein shield. This is the final, most crucial step that completely disarms the caffeine bomb. You must never allow pure, liquid caffeine to touch the bare, unprotected walls of your stomach. We must build a physical, molecular net inside your digestive tract that catches the caffeine and forces it to enter your bloodstream at a slow, manageable trickle, rather than a violent flood. Exactly 10 minutes before you take your very first sip of coffee, you are going to consume a small, highly specific biological shield consisting exclusively of healthy fats and protein. I am not talking about a full breakfast. I am talking about a targeted, 2-bite intervention. You can eat exactly 10 raw almonds or 5 walnut halves. If you do not like nuts, you can eat a single hard-boiled egg or a tablespoon of raw chia seeds soaked in a few ounces of water. Why is this so incredibly powerful? When you introduce dense, healthy fats and protein into an empty stomach, it immediately triggers the release of a digestive hormone called CCK cholecystokinin. This hormone forcefully slows down your stomach's gastric emptying rate. It signals the stomach valve to close slightly, holding the contents inside to be broken down slowly. When you drink your hot coffee immediately after eating those 10 almonds, the caffeine hits that layer of fat and protein. It is physically trapped. Instead of violently rushing into your bloodstream in 3 minutes and causing an adrenal panic, the caffeine takes 45 minutes to gently seep into your system. Your brain stays calm, your adrenal glands remain completely quiet, and most importantly, your liver keeps its vault doors permanently locked, keeping that emergency sugar safely stored away where it belongs. Let me tell you about a patient of mine named Susan. Susan was a 74-year-old retired school teacher who was completely addicted to her morning black coffee, but was terrified because her fasting blood sugar was consistently hitting 185. Her doctor wanted to double her metformin dosage, which caused her severe digestive pain. I taught Susan the water buffer protocol. I told her to wait 90 minutes, drink her mineral water, and eat exactly 1 hard-boiled egg before she poured her coffee. Susan didn't have to give up the morning ritual she loved. She simply changed the biological environment of her stomach. Within 2 weeks, the adrenal panic was completely eliminated. Her morning blood sugar dropped from a dangerous 185 down to a perfectly stable 112. She protected her retinas, she shielded her kidneys, and she saved herself from a lifetime of increased pharmaceutical dependency, all with a glass of water and a single egg. Tomorrow morning, you are standing at a distinct biological crossroads. You can wake up, head straight to the coffee machine, and knowingly drop a chemical bomb on your adrenal glands, allowing that toxic, unburned sugar to silently, aggressively shred your vascular system. Or, you can choose the path of vitality. You can build your shield. You can command your own biology, neutralize the threat, and fiercely protect your physical independence for decades to come. I want to know exactly who is ready to take control with me tomorrow morning. Go directly to the comments section right now and type the word SHIELD if you are strictly committing yourself to the water buffer protocol tomorrow. Just that one single word in all capital letters, SHIELD. Make a bold, public declaration to this community that you refuse to let this progressive disease steal your future, your vision, or your freedom. I personally read every single comment, and I want to see your commitment. If this video finally gave you the scientific clarity, the honest answers, and the practical biological tools you have been searching for, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel right now. We are building a powerful, resilient movement of individuals over the age of 60 who are actively proving to the world that your best, healthiest, and most vibrant years are still ahead of you. Share this video immediately with a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who is currently struggling to manage their blood sugar. They desperately need to hear this truth before the invisible damage becomes permanent. I am Dr. Andrew Morgan. Take back your morning, protect your unique biology, and I will see you in the very next video.